My husband changed after his company got on track. He didn't even try to hide that he was cheating with another woman. When I finally pointed it out, he just laughed at me.
You're trash that doesn't earn a cent. You should just be grateful I'm supporting you.
Then I'll get a job.
When I said that, he just laughed and told me to do as I pleased. I found employment at my husband's parent company. That's when I started my revenge on my husband. My name is Karen, a 34-year-old homemaker, and my husband Michael is 36 and runs a printing company. We originally worked at the same company. I was in the illustration department, and he was in sales. We fell in love and married when I was 26. Once we were settled, he quit his job and consulted with me about starting a new company. I was unsure, so I decided to consult with our business partner, Bob, whom we had worked with before. Bob was a CEO we knew from our previous workplace. He's involved in various businesses and often handled advertising for the products his companies made. As Bob supported our challenge and even invested money.
I'm a fan of Karen's illustrations, he said.
I couldn't find words other than gratitude.
We will definitely make our company a success, just the two of us.
I declared to Bob, and the two of us started running the company. Initially, we struggled living in a small apartment, but once the company took off, we could move into a high-rise condominium. That's when my husband asked me to focus on being a homemaker.
I'll hire someone else for the illustrations eventually. I want you to support me.
I couldn't say no to that. I decided to report the matter to Bob, who'd invested in us.
I'm sorry, but I'll have to quit the illustration work.
Bob genuinely felt sorry for me.
Oh, it's sad to think I won't be able to see Karen's illustrations anymore, but if you ever want to start again, just tell me. But I'll be here to support you.
Yes, thank you very much.
And so, I became a homemaker to support my husband. But since I love drawing, I now upload my illustrations as a hobby to Instagram. The response has been great, and this has become my secret pleasure. My husband's company continues to thrive since I left. Our lifestyle has become more prosperous accordingly. My husband has bought a new car, and he's even had suits custom made by renowned brands. I thought it was an unnecessary expense, but I guess appearance matters when you're the boss. No matter how busy my husband is, he always has dinner at home. Because this was a promise between us. No matter how busy we get, he insisted we always have time just for the two of us. That was our dinner time. That's when he would share the company's future prospects with me. I feel happy just being able to support his dreams. I thought this would go on forever. The company's performance is still on the rise. But gradually, I noticed a change in my husband's attitude. He stopped talking to me about the company during dinner. How's the company doing? Everything fine? Yeah, he would reply unenthusiastically. I asked persistently to know more, and he snapped back. Don't talk about it. You will understand. You're always at home. Don't make me explain every little thing. I was shocked that my husband would say such a thing. I tried to convince myself that he was just tired and overworked. That night, he silently finished his meal and went straight to his room. This continued for a while, and then he started having dinner outside. He would send excuses about socializing or entertaining, but he used to have dinner at home even then. I would wait for him, holding off on dinner myself, and yet now he would casually dine out. Thirdly, he wouldn't even send an excuse via email. When I brought it up, he would just yell at me. He seemed like a completely changed person. I felt nothing more than a servant to my husband. I would break into tears at the thought. When we started the company, we endured hard times hand in hand. Now I feel lower than his subordinates. I don't do housework because I like it. I wanted to continue my work in illustration. But more than that, I wanted to make my husband's dreams come true. That's why I'm supporting him with housework. But any gratitude for that has long since vanished from my husband. Access always away. I immerse myself in my illustrations. That's the only thing that relieves my stress. As I continue, my followers increase, and there are kind words in the comments. Fatik among them. I even found Bob's name. In the comments, Bob offers to work together again. I hope we can work together someday, as thinking about it lifts my spirits. Without this hope, I might not have been able to go on. Ever since we stopped having dinner together, a rift began to grow between my husband and me. Eventually, I started to sense the presence of another woman. I detected a scent of perfume on my husband's discarded suit jacket, a fragrance he would never use. When I questioned him about it, he brushed it off. He did so with a smirk, acting as if being caught wouldn't be a problem at all. And for the first time, my long-standing sadness towards my husband turned into anger. I thought, enough with the mockery. I was left alone at home, waiting for my husband, unable to do anything but household chores. The anxiety of being left behind by society grew day by day. My friends only told me how envious they were. But when I consulted my parents, they just laughed, calling it a luxurious worry. I had to face this problem all by myself. Then one day, my husband came home drunk. I took care of him desperately and put him to bed. That's when I noticed a lipstick mark on his shirt. There's no way he'd come home with a kiss mark there for no reason. It was a declaration of war from the other woman. I finally caught proof of my husband's infidelity. The next day, I showed him the shirt and confronted him. "Where were you last night? What's this kiss mark?" My husband was surprised by the kiss mark, but was unfazed by my confrontation. I was out at a bar with friends. Must have happened then. Right there. You'd have to take off your jacket for that to happen. Didn't you notice? I said, "I don't remember." My husband stood up and slapped my cheek. I fell backward, unable to comprehend what had happened. All I felt was a hot, stinging pain. "When will you get it? Who do you think is providing for us?" My husband said that and went back to his room. I watched his back, tears spilling down my face. My husband had changed. He no longer loved me. I was shattered by the harsh reality. From then on, my husband became violent whenever something displeased him. If he didn't like the meal I'd prepared, he'd throw the plate on the floor. This tastes awful. Do you even know what I eat every day? If you want to stay my wife, you better improve your cooking skills. My husband said that and got up to leave the room. I'll eat out. If I eat this, it'll affect my work. I chased after my husband. Wait, I want to cook what you like, but you never come home or talk to me. How can I make something delicious like that? My husband clicked his tongue, clearly annoyed by my desperate plea. So, shall we get a divorce then? I'm totally fine with it. I can live without you. But you can't live without me, can you?
So, shall we get a divorce then? I'm totally fine with it. I can live without you. But you can't live without me, can you?
My husband looked at me and smirked.
You're a piece of garbage that doesn't make a single cent, and you're a parasite living off me.
That with those words, something inside me snapped. This man will never change. As the kind and considerate husband of the past is dead.
Then I'll get a job.
What? What do you mean?
I will also become financially independent.
My husband laughed, clutching his stomach.
Who would hire a powerless person like you?
I held back my anger. I mustn't lose control and lash out. That would only lead to more physical abuse. Since I can't win through physical strength, I must find another way to fight.
I'll do as you please, but don't neglect the housework with your insignificant earnings. I won't allow that.
My husband said those words and left the house. I immediately began preparing by hiring a detective to catch evidence of my husband's infidelity. I easily obtained numerous photographs. My husband was seen with flashy dressed women, enjoying drinks together and entering hotels. And it wasn't just one woman. He was baiting women with money and playing around with different ones. Seeing those photos and hearing the detective's report, I felt no emotions, no anger, no sadness. I thought it was good that the flashy behavior made it easy to obtain evidence. 1 week after obtaining the evidence, I headed to a restaurant on the top floor of a hotel. I was wearing the most beautiful clothes I could find, but I looked overwhelmingly cheap compared to the other customers in this restaurant. As I timidly headed to the reserved seat, Bob was already seated.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
I apologized, and Bob smiled, gesturing for me to sit. No, I've been eagerly waiting for you. Karen, making me wait isn't a big deal at all, Bob said. The pet helped fund us when my husband and I went independent. He was also now the president of my husband's parent company.
Thank you so much for supporting us during our independence.
Like, I was surprised when you two said, you're going independent, but since I've been working with you for a long time, funding you was no big deal.
It seems the company is doing well thanks to you.
Bob's face turned stern at my words.
Well, that's true. I guess, but today it's about you accepting my invitation, right?
Bob said, smiling and reassuring me.
Yes, please.
I straightened up and greeted him. Bob was one of the people who highly praised my illustrations. He provided funding when we went independent because I was part of it. He's the only one who advised me not to become a homemaker. We had lost touch, but he found me on social media and left a comment. We began communicating through email and SMs.
But you understood my illustrations well, didn't you?
I'm a fan of yours, and I'm really glad you didn't quit illustrating.
I never thought you'd scout me, though.
Bob had offered to hire me as an illustrator via SMS. It was quite some time ago, and I had declined because of my household chores. But he kept inviting me time and again. Actually, it was a week ago when I decided to accept Bob's offer during a conversation with my husband. Bob seemed hesitant, but finally he looked me straight in the eyes.
I don't say this, but Michael's company has a really bad reputation.
What? Really?
Everything I heard from my husband about his job was positive, so I was surprised to hear this from Bob.
I've been working with him for a long time, but ever since the business started growing, the quality of work has declined. Deadlines are missed, mistakes are made, and he doesn't seem to reflect on it.
Is this reputation widespread?
Well, his company was growing rapidly, so it drew attention, but now it's attracting the wrong kind of attention. There are even rumors of him associating with a bad group.
I didn't know that. I realized I didn't know much about my husband. To lighten the mood, Bob said cheerfully,
Anyway, you'll be drawing illustrations for us from now on. Don't need to outsource it. Some big benefit for our company.
Thank you for accommodating my request to not affect my family life.
Appleadder, it's okay. We don't intend to overwork our employees anyway, Bob said with a smile.
And so, I started working for Bob. I only had to draw illustrations, so I didn't need to go into the office. Pup and Moribel allowed me to work remotely. It's this way. I could work without it interfering with my household duties. I really felt the joy of drawing, something I truly loved. I enjoyed it as a hobby, but now I felt the joy of being able to work on commissions. It was a fulfilling job. But there were times when household chores and supporting my husband took up my time. His greed or desire to work, as much as I liked on my own, started to grow within me. Extolpiles, I started earning a decent income. I thought that I could live on my own without any problem. As I was working as usual, I heard the door slam loudly. It's when I went to the hallway. My husband came to me with rage in his eyes.
You traitor?
I couldn't understand what my husband was saying all of a sudden.
To think that my wife would take my job. It was then that I realized the reason for my husband's anger.
Since I started working with Pete, I began to work with other companies as well. Thanks to Bob's recommendation, I was able to secure contracts smoothly. Most of the companies I contracted with were my husband's business partners. This was my revenge. It must have been frustrating to have jobs taken away by me, the one he looked down on. You've no right to tell me anything. I've just done my job. I have your permission. My husband's eyes filled with rage, but I didn't flinch. Go ahead, hit me if you want, then I'll call the police. The word police seemed to calm him down a bit.
My company is failing because of you. What are you trying to do?
It has nothing to do with me. I went into the room and brought the divorce papers to my husband. Just we're not husband and wife anymore.
Don't be ridiculous. You're divorcing me because my company is failing? That you're just a gold digger?
I could have divorced you at any time, but I thought now was the right timing. After all, I have a lot of work now and I'm making money.
Tay, wait. Let's talk about the company's future before we talk about divorce.
You kicked me out of that company, remember? I have nothing to do with it now. And I'll make sure to get compensation. Michael was irritated, biting his lip.
How greedy can you be? You can't claim compensation when you're the one asking for a divorce.
Do you know how many times you've hit me? And you are having affairs without a care. All the evidence. That's enough to claim compensation. I showed him pictures that proved the affair. My husband, who had heard everything, fell to his knees and begged me.
Please. The company's in dire straits. I can't handle compensation or divorce on top of that. Please support me. As soon as people found out that the company was doing badly, they abandoned me. You're the only one who hasn't.
I didn't listen to such a pathetic idea. I left the house with only my work tools and a change of clothes. The next time I came home was when the divorce was finalized to pick up my belongings. My husband's company was making mistakes everywhere, and no one wanted to work with him. He paid me compensation. He was spending his days begging. On the other hand, I started living alone, making a living drawing my favorite illustrations. I've become quite wealthy, but I live without forgetting my integrity, taking my ex-husband as a negative example.